So I'm like, yeah. Okay. All right, I'm going to call to order the Hood River City Council meeting of May 23rd. It is 6:02. And remind people to turn off or silence your cell phone. And then we'll do the land acknowledgement and then the pledge. As we meet tonight, let us all remember that today we are stewards of land that has been home to Indigenous peoples for thousands of years before the recent arrival of the European heritage dominant culture. We honor this land's ancestors as we go about our business today. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, are there any signups for business from the audience? Okay, no signups today. Work session. I don't see anything on the work session. I'm going to open the work session. Do we have any additions or anything at all?
No, Mayor, we do not.
No, we don't. Okay, so we'll adjourn the work session. We'll open the regular council meeting. Any agenda additions or corrections?
No, I would note one thing where under Mayor Call, we have the House Bill 4123 Advisory Board appointment.
Okay.
I had written that memo as a motion, but I talked to Kenny Lapointe today and you can just agree. We don't need a formal motion to make that official.
Okay. Okay, great. We have consent agenda, several things on it. Does anyone need to pull anything off of that or have any questions about anything on the consent agenda?
One question.
Okay,
I was a bad scout. I think, Will, this might be for you, which is, the digester saga all made perfect sense and no issues. But are we going back through the whole capital plan list for everything under, in this case, wastewater to, is this something that we're going to see a, 2x increase instead of a 1.1x increase? What does that mean for 2 years from now, CIP stuff?
Yeah, it's always a lot of dials that are moving all at the same time, right? Some things coming in over budget, some things, other times there's budget savings, some things are delayed, some things, right? And so it all has to net at the end of the day. And that's why I am expecting to re-engage with FCS after this fiscal year is closed, get them some updated data and just retweak the inflation assumptions and do a check-in of where we're at. But we still have the existing rate plan, as it's been adopted, and we're going to stick to that until we have a deliberate decision to do otherwise. And so what's going to be in there is just, we are going to need to prioritize the projects. And if something needs to wait a little bit longer because some other things came in over budget, we'll make that risk assessment kind of as we go through.
I mean, shifting of the rate, the rate process, we have a process to do that. And I'm not even against, tweaking on it, but you want to do it sort of gently, right? You don't want to just go, wait.
Yes.
Everything is more expensive. Here you go. So, all right. That's what I was hoping, and that makes sense.
Yeah, I will say this council has been diligent about keeping our rates, doing small increases over the years, starting back in 2015, we've never had enormous rate adjustments, but every year we've had a pretty good rate adjustment. So that's kept the utility funds healthy, and there's quite a bit of borrowing capacity in the sewer fund and the water fund. So all that creates a little breathing space so that there won't be what you're worried about, which is a large catch up.
Right. And I guess we could borrow against the healthiness to get over bumps like this one.
And make sure we, make it smooth.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions on consent? We have a motion.
I will move, we approve the consent agenda.
Megan's made a motion that we approve the consent agenda. And Tim has seconded that motion. Additional discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? Chair votes aye. All right, regular business items. Fourth quarter supplemental budget.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. This is the annual kind of true up, cleanup supplemental budget, making sure that our budgeted appropriations match how we think that we're going to actually spend throughout the fiscal year. So nothing in this supplemental budget is anything that we haven't been tracking or hasn't been reported in prior quarterly financial reports. You know, we've noted in every quarterly financial report that engineering is on track to overspend their budget, but offset by they're getting more charges for services because it's just more development activity in general. So that's one example of how we've been tracking something throughout the fiscal year, but now we're actually adjusting the appropriations to reflect it with this action you have in front of you. So we have the engineering development type expenses, recognizing the revenue that it's generating and then the additional contract services. And then also we have the city manager recruitment expense, the some legal costs associated with missing middle going to the land use board of appeals, and also some parking and merchant and bank fees as well. So each one of those are trying a transfer from contingency, but also everything that was built in to our expectations of this fiscal year already. And so all of these expenses were built into our expectation of next year's beginning fund balance. So no impact on the adopted budget or any of the budget. None of this is any information that wasn't available during the budget process. So that's in the general fund. Outside of the general fund, lodging taxes are just coming in higher than expected. So we need to recognize that those are coming in and make the offsetting appropriation for our 25% that goes to the Chamber of Commerce. And then over in our agency fund, which is the fund that we hold fiduciarily for the city of Mosier to bill and collect their water revenues and then remit it back to them. Very similar to the process that we use for lodging taxes. Just if we have more money, we need to recognize it so that we can give the corresponding remittance to the city of Mosier. So those are the kind of handful of cleanup actions here for the end of the year.
Great. Additional questions on this? Mark? Go ahead.
Thanks a lot. I think the number of adjustments we're making at the end of the year is a testament to doing it right. So thank you. I was just curious. So we're moving a little bit out of contingency in this adjustment. Did we, in any of the other adjustments, did we tap contingency at all? I'm just sorry, is there a lesson to be learned by saying how much did we move out of contingency in the total fiscal year? And if that's something I mean, there's a lot of headroom.
Yeah.
So that's the good thing. But is there a lesson in there if you look back on how much we looked at? And maybe this is for next March.
Yeah, that's a great question. So there is quite a bit left. And I think we did use a little bit of contingency, and I can't remember for what off the top of my head with the Q2 supplemental budget. So that plus this, but we didn't use nearly half of contingency. And I believe we budget contingency at about 2 or 3% of ongoing revenues, which doesn't seem excessive by any means, but certainly gives us a good amount of buffer because we didn't come close to using all of it this year.
Yeah, if this was down to just a few tens of thousands left, you'd be pretty scared. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, but we have hundreds of thousands left in contingency this budget year.
That was all I had.
Yeah.
I move that city council approve resolution 2022-07 to make appropriations and adjust the adopted budget for fiscal year 2021-2022.
Second that. Megan's made a motion and Jessica has seconded that motion. The city council approved resolution 2022-07 to make appropriations and adjust the adopted budget for fiscal year 2021-22. Additional discussion?
Mayor, if I could just, this is just maybe kind of an attaboy comment. So I remember, was it 15 years ago when sort of those early Arthur Babbitt's years, how much the city struggled to get back on its feet. It's just sort of a luxury to just sit here and go, yes, for all the hard work, people that have gone before me, but I take zero credit in this, but I think Will and others just, and Arthur Babbitt's frankly, give a lot of credit for getting us to the point of having these easy votes. So thank you.
Thanks for the comment, Eric. That's good. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Chair votes aye. All right. Adam. The contract amendment with Crystal Greens.
Great, and as Adam is coming up, I'll prep us just a little by saying,
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
I'm so happy you're here tonight. And I think, do we have someone from Crystal Greens online as well?
Yes.
Awesome, great. Well, I think as you know, we lost our parks person to Yamhill County recently. So that started a conversation about specifically how we can manage our parks effectively this summer. And as you know, we already contract out a lot of the landscaping and other pieces. But Adam took that even further to look at what are the areas where we could use technology to be effective, and started a conversation with Crystal Green. So we're bringing a new idea, I think one that's really can be cost effective and sustainable for the city. So that's why we wanted to kind of bring you a presentation about what it is. You have the information in your packet, and Adam and Crystal Greens are here to answer any questions. So I'll turn it over to Adam at this point.
Thank you. Yes, very exciting evening. This is my first presentation in front of council, short of showing you some photos. That was pretty easy. So depending on how it goes, it may be my last. Just kidding. Just kidding. All right. Yeah, my presentation is to make an amendment to our current parks maintenance contract and add irrigation maintenance to it. Just to give you a little background on how we got here. We had 2 parks employees last spring. One of them left to Arizona last spring, leaving us with 1, which was Travis Peace, our parks lead. We signed in a local landscape company to do work on a select few parks. We went through last summer with them on board. Things went well. We had just the 1 parks employee at the time. Late last fall, Mark Janik presented in front of you what our new contract is now with Crystal Greens. And we lost Travis to Yamhill County in April. And so we no longer have any park staffing. We have one of our newest employees from this last fall has taken on the role of restroom maintenance. He's doing garbage. He's kind of overseeing the contract work that's going on with Crystal Greens right now, and doing maintenance on all of our restrooms as well. So that's kind of where we are now. We have no staff. We're currently 3 folks down at Public Works right now. So we have no staffing for parks. We have nobody that's really has any background in irrigation maintenance. I'm unfortunately the only one that has some irrigation background. So with that, the proposal from Crystal Greens includes installing smart irrigation controllers at 12 various locations, along with weather stations, and the fact that they'll all be remotely ran as well. One of the issues that we run into in a select few of our parks, Waterfront Park and Jackson Park, events that are going on there, we have to turn the irrigation off a lot of times in the evening because of the events that are going on. And in the heat of the summer, and if it's windy and we miss one day, it's like detrimental to the grass. So we run into some issues there. So if we can power the irrigation back on for a Sunday night watering, it'll help. So with these, we get that option as well. We can turn on, turn off, and also any weather that comes through if we get rain. they'll ramp up, ramp down in irrigation. So I think that's all I have. Ryan McNaughton with Crystal Greens. He's on Zoom right now as well. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer or try.
Questions? It's very cool.
Yeah, I think it's the positive. I'm excited for the smart meters. That sounds like a good water conservation effort.
I think it's a great idea, water savings and getting it on at the right time and yeah.
So I move that we amend the existing landscaping contract with Crystal Greens to include irrigation system replacement and service in the amount of $26,720.
Megan's made a motion and Tim has seconded that motion to amend the existing landscape contract with Crystal Greens to include irrigation system replacement and service in the amount of $26,720. Additional discussion?
Just want to say you did a great job presenting.
Thank
For your
you.
next presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Chair votes aye.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. You know, when you do a short presentation, we make a motion immediately and we all agree you've done a perfect presentation.
I'll be back then.
Okay. All right. Mayor call. Already to mayor call. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is a record. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So it was in your packet. I'll just go over it. So the $1 million that the state legislature has given numerous, is it 4 counties? I think it's 4 counties, that Mid-Columbia Community Action Council is administering for, well, numerous different things, but houselessness and all associated things. The legislature is requiring an overseeing board, even though Mid-Columbia Community Action already has a board and it already has elected officials on it and all that. They have to have a separate board. Gladys is already on the other board. And Kenny said, you know, it would just be, she would have all the information on everything that's going on. And she can report back to us anything that's going on because she's on council. And they would normally have these meetings maybe once a quarter, and they would just add it on to their other meeting and she would already be there. And I thought, wouldn't that be perfect? And because it isn't another meeting separate that we would need to, somebody else would have to drive to the Dalles to do, and she's going to already be there and be informed on everything. So this is just an ask to appoint her to that board.
I assume she said yes to being appointed.
Yes, Kenny, yes, yeah, she's not here, but Kenny did talk to her. Kenny talked to me, and then I said, well, I don't know if Gladys wants to do it. And he said, well, she's on our board, I'll talk to her. And I said, well, if she wants to do it and has time to do it. And he said, we'll just add 45 minutes onto the meeting for this group at the end of the other meeting. And so she said she would be happy to do it.
Well, then I think she'd be great.
You're good with it? Okay. If everyone's good with it, then I will appoint Gladys. Great. Thank you. The only other thing I have is Abigail's review is, you know, it's been 6 months, and so we need to do that. And so I've got a process that Jessica had volunteered. She said, I'll help you. She's had to be reviewed just like Abigail has, so she has experience on both sides of this. And so Jessica and I met and we went over kind of what we've been doing and the pamphlet that was sent out to the full council of kind of how you should do this. and came up with some different questions, a little bit different process. And so we went over those this last week. And so Abigail's going to look at those and see if she, is like, oh my gosh, I had no idea this was going to be this way. Or, there's some questions in here for communication that might be better or added on. And then I'll bring everything to full council. And then we'll look at the whole packet of how we would do the process. And hopefully at the next meeting, if we can get it on the agenda, we'll try and bring it in up to the next meeting so everyone can look at what it would look like. And then if everyone is good with it, we'll go forward with that process. So you guys can give your input at the next meeting. If you guys are good with that. Great. Council call, other things, Mark?
I will not be here the first meeting in June, but I think the review and making sure that we're all on the same page is super, super important to me too. So I will endeavor to get you inputs for whatever time zone I happen to be in.
Okay, great.
But I will be back for the meeting on the 27th. So that. What else do I have? Warriors looked really good against Dallas yesterday. That was sort of fun. And then the consult, I told you guys a little bit about a consultant for Business Oregon that is measuring the size of the uncrewed technology industry in the state of Oregon. And he's here in Oregon this week. I'm going to see him at this conference on Wednesday. And it's looking, the first data point I saw talked about thousands of jobs. So it's real.
Is this the conference that's down at the Best Western?
No, this is a conference that's at the Best Western in Walla Walla.
Oh, okay. A different wine country.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'll keep you guys filled in just for curiosity. And I don't have anything else.
Jessica?
I don't have any like city council hat things. Through work, we are doing a series of pub talks, which are like entrepreneurship, networking, mentoring kind of events. And the closest one will be that we're doing one in Cascade Locks on June 9th at Gorgeous Beer. And that's free 5:30 for anybody that wants to come. We will be doing one probably in Hood River in the fall with the Spanish speaking focus. So, but anyway, that's folks want to come. Gorgeous Beer that was actually my first time going inside of it, and it's stunning. I don't know, it's a beautiful facility. So,
Eric?
I guess I'll mention the members of the local ODOT committee. That includes John Davies, chair of the county commission, Megan Reagan, and some others. We had a couple of meetings over the last 2 weeks to discuss the possibility of whether it made strategic sense for either this group, the ACT committee, or possibly the city to pursue this Great Streets Grant, which is apparently a new source of funding from ODOT. It's not necessarily tied to ACT, but the concept is if there are cities in the state of Oregon that have entire streets, main streets, there's a $5 million pool of funds. 5 cities can apply for it, 5 winners, to kind of improve a main street, Main Street USA, Main Street Oregon concept. So Megan is really excited about the possibility of perhaps this providing some kind of supplemental financial support to the Heights. So we just had some preliminary talks about it. Will may have all the reasons why it doesn't make any sense, but Megan is hot to trot on it, and the folks on the committee are hearing her out, and I think are generally warm to the idea. But at this point, it's kind of in the early stage idea of someone applying for the potentially an additional $1 million, assuming we're not in the city, to support a kind of Main Street Oregon revamp concept through this through this program. Grant.
Councilor Haney, after you and I talked, we reached out to ODOT and they have not launched the program yet. We don't have any information about it, but we are monitoring.
So I think we're really early in the shoot.
I had heard about it and I thought that it sounded really good for the Knights. So good job for Megan.
Yeah, and it sounds like the thought, based on what we have from Megan, is ODOT's looking for kind of almost shovel ready to turn your gloomy street into a main street Oregon. But maybe by the time that happens.
Right. Tim?
Thanks, Mayor. I guess it's just dawning on me that my son will be graduating from high school before our next council meeting. So that's pretty much occupying my time. I was thinking about this when I saw, listening to Jessica talk and thinking back to the robotics competition and all the fun that was. So that's pretty much, that's my council call.
Great, thanks, Tim. Megan?
Two things. I attended Riverside Church, did the 80th year recognition apology of the Japanese residents being put on the train to the internment camps. Very well attended, incredibly moving. I think they have a lot of it online, so if anyone is interested and couldn't make it, it was very good. And then I listened to the county meeting last week. Will did a really good presentation about West Side urban renewal, kind of what the process is, where we are. I think the future conversations with the county will be very interesting. This was just a fun thing, but Hood River Garbage presented, they've got a new wizard on their website to tell you where things go, garbage, recycling, special hazardous waste. You can type in whatever you have and it'll tell you what happens with it, which I thought was just nice for the community. And then they didn't make any real decisions, but they were discussing, Blumenauer has, actually submitted the REC Act proposal. It's now not a proposal, it's an actual bill. And so they kind of were talking about that. But also interesting, no real process at this point, so.
Mayor, could I respond?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Just two quick items. One is we have recycling coming to a meeting in June. So I don't know if it's going to be a repeat of what you've already seen, but we're looking forward to having them here. And then we have, Representative Blumenauer was supposed to be here, but got COVID. So we're working with his staff to get him rescheduled here soon. Thanks.
Great. All right. So we're going to go into an executive session. I'm going to read the script on that. The city council will now meet in executive session pursuant to Oregon Revised Statutes 192.6601E to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to negotiate real property transactions. Representatives of the news media and designated staff are allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. The representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision may be made nor final action taken in executive session. The executive session is anticipated to last 20 minutes, probably 20 minutes. At the end of the executive session, the city council meeting will adjourn and no action will be taken. We'll now discontinue the live feed and